Okay, latest post, all of the bases in DNA and RNA have now been found in meteorites. This is January 12th, 2023. And they have now discovered all of these different bases, which means that life could have very easily come from space. Now, I have a couple of little meteorites here. This one here is a little iron one, another little iron one, and then I have a stony one. And we're going to look at those in the microscope, and I'm going to explain to you what they are. And these are body parts, and these two are lungs. That's why they turn into iron, because they have all blood in them. Blood is nothing basically but iron. All the other stuff burns off, and you end up with iron. Stony ones are other body parts. Space smells like steak because all of these meteorites are body parts. These are body parts. This is a body part. The biggest iron meteorite there is, with the Willamette one, is an iron lung as well. Gigantic. I mean, these creatures were huge in space. This is a fingertip. And I have a terrestrial one here. Hold on, let me just show you this, and then we'll start looking into the microscope and stuff. Hold on. All right, check this out. These are identical, basically identical. This one deteriorated on Earth after the flood. This came through space and cooked off and burnt off most of the stuff. And look at that. You see how elegant the human body was, or whatever creature this was? Look at that, big circle, another big circle, and there was another one over here. But this is the artery side, which is the wet red blood, and it literally cooked and it just exploded. This is the vein side. You see the little vein plug right there? This is the black side. Again, they don't blow out. The red sides blow out, the artery, and the same with the terrestrial one. You see this side? These are the veins. Vein, vein. Don't blow out. No, nothing blows out because they got clamps. This side, the red blood ran right out. Basically the same thing you're seeing here, virtually identical. And look at this. Don't forget, that's the vein, 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 and let the tip look. You see that hook? Even this hook here is identical. I hope you can see all that in the. You see it? There is no difference whatsoever. Only this one did not come through space. That one did. Now, we can look at both of the textures of these in the microscope. This one blanched off most of the, what I call the cheap stuff, which is the skin and all the fascia. Well, it's the outer layer of your body. And it burns off quicker than the blood. Blood is very, very durable. I mean, it's absolutely incredible how well the blood lasts. So, let me just show you that Willamette, and then we're going to look at this meteorite that's in a microscope here, because it's still got fresh blood in it. I mean, very, very fresh blood. And you'll see, I'll do the catalase test. You can't miss it. All right, so let me show you one other thing. Hold on. Okay, my friends, there it is right there. That's the lung that came through space. That's why it's all black around the alveoli holes. Now, I'm going to put some hydrogen peroxide in there. Now, you see these holes here? These are holes that lead to other passageways throughout the lung. Now, let's see what we get here. This might take a little while to get a reaction because it is, it was cooked. When you cook an enzyme at a certain temperature, it is what they call denatured. Not seeing much yet. There it goes. Alright, there we're getting some now. You see it? Watch him bubble out of there. Let's just keep our eye on it. This, like I say, this thing came through space. So she's got some she's cooked up a little bit, but I know I got catalase. I got a good catalase reaction out of this before. They're coming. You see, it has to sink way down inside. If we drilled this out, if I drilled this out deep, it would start to foam right up, I'll bet you. I can see it starting to foam up now. There it comes. There it comes. See it coming up now? I'm going to put a little more on here because it's probably, what this is doing is the catalase in the body is attacking the hydrogen peroxide, saying, no, 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 you got too many hydrogens. I mean, too many oxygens. So it's already getting used up. We should get a pretty good reaction out of this. Now, let me get right down on top of it. And you see that, those are the lights, that ring of lights. But you can see the reaction a little bit. You see? I'm going to scrape that. And I'll bet you it'll start to really give us a good reaction. I'm going to scrape it and then we'll put it back in here. Hold on. Alright. I savagely attacked it with a awl. Dug in there deep. This is just debris. But it's blood. That is just nothing but blood. Now I'm going to put some catalase on there now and see if we get, whoops, I need to get some. I keep saying catalase. I'm trying to get a catalase reaction. I'm using hydrogen peroxide, which is chemically H2O2, which means it's not H2O, which is water. It is got an extra oxygen. Our bodies do not want that. So they react violently with, look at that, look at that. I told you. Did I not tell you? Now, this is just amazing. Look at that. And this is what I do. When I take my blood samples to get them tested, I drill deep inside. I don't just take them off the outside. Look at that sucker go. Now, that is a meteorite. That is a meteorite. Look at the stuff coming out of that puppy. Yikes. I didn't think it would react that good, but wow. Look at that. Let me put another hit on there and see what happens. Look at this thing. Saturated. It's saturated with blood. It's just blowing blood right out now. That's all it's doing, is leaking blood out of itself. It came through space. Look at this. That's better than the ones that I get from here on Earth. Of course, I dig so deep. I never was checking for the catalase, to be honest with you. I just knew I had blood. I went deep inside, sent it off. Yeah, it's blood. Look at that thing. It's just bleeding now. That's like this thing here. It's just like that. Virtually identical. Same thing. Okay, this is an iron meteorite. Now, it's not totally iron. It's all different metals. And they all smelt off and collect in the center. Now that is red blood. That is as red as it gets. And that's red blood in the, I believe this could be, well, it's either a heart or a liver, I would think, because it's virtually total metals. And that means it's almost total, well, it could be a lung too. And it's iron. It's mostly red blood. And then all the other metals are also shown as these crystallization patterns. So that's what you see in an iron, really metal meteorite. Now mine are so small that they didn't burn up to a point where they were just a ball. These still have all the articulation of a lung. And the ones I have here, they're all identical. And they still have the latch on them. It holds them in the body. Of course, they were pulled out of the body, but I'll show you that latch. I'll show you everything. It's all very, very simple to see. And we'll do the catalase test. And let's look at the huge Willamette meteorite, because that has blood very easily seen as well. Now, remember, this is a lung. And as it came through space, all of the parts that were not blood burnt off. And you see that little spot right there? That is a blood vessel. They have them inside every cavity. They have a blood vessel that leads to all of the other little cavities. They're called alveoli. And that's how you breathe. And that came through space just the right way, so it cooked everything off except the metals. I have one here that's a terrestrial one. I have everything basically that exists here in my shop. Alright, don't forget, there's other spots in here where you can see the red, but that's the best one because that's the biggest cavity. Same with my lung here. There's all the tubes go in one area where you get a bunch of big spots, and that's this area here. And then the other areas burn off and they still have a lot of holes in it, but not like the big cavities like right here. And that's why you see that red blood vessel is pretty obvious. Now, this is the same thing. You see all the red blood in this? This would have burnt off and turned into metal, just like this. Alright, this is the same as this lung right here. These are the same. And I'll show you, I broke the latch off of this, which is what I call them the spur lock. And this one still has it on there. I'll show you that in a microscope. But there was a little spot here in the lung that locks it into the body. And that's what keeps the lung from floating around in your body. And I just broke that one off. Now, but I have a ton of them around here that I can show you that same latch. And that is not understood by anatomy and biology, that is a separate piece. And I'll show you right now. I got a little lung here. You see this? This is that spot. This is also a mud fossil lung. That's that spot right there. That's the latch. Hold on. I'm going to put it in a microscope, but I just want you to see this real quick because, you know, this is just amazing. The ones coming through space have them too. You see that latch right there? All the rest of the alveoli have turned into little balls of mineral. Well, I'm going to put this in a microscope and that's where all the big stuff came in. And that's where that latch is at the bottom that holds it from pulling out of your body. It's a completely different piece of anatomy that is not what all the anatomists that I've talked to about that told me, oh, that's just fascia. And I said, no, this is different. This is a different body part. And it is. It's very, very tender. Grabs a hold of it and it won't let this thing leave. And even on well, I'll show you the ones, well, hold on one second. Alright, I think I showed you the fingertips, I'm quite sure. I do get lost in these presentations. They seem to be going longer and longer. But anyway, one of them came through space, one did not. Now, what do we have here? We have lungs. This one's been DNA tested, CAT scanned and all that. There's the lock that I talk about. I call it now the spur lock because I discovered it. And that is a different texture. Everything's different about that than the rest of the fascia. Now, you see that other lung there? This one has no fascia whatsoever, fascia or pleura. It is all the way down to what's called the alveoli. You see these little balls here? They're all here. But all of this stuff had eroded away, which is like the rubber bag that coats it. This one still has its rubber bag on it. Now, what can we determine by looking at this one? First of all, this one actually had blood coming out of it. Here's the blood that came out of it. A couple little bubbles came out of these little red spots. Now, what else can we see? Well, of course, we can see the alveoli. And this shows you that all of these holes, these are just holes. It's like a big sponge. And they just sucked up all the quartz. Now, it's for some reason, the chemistry in this area was filled with silicates. And there must have been some pH difference. I don't know what it is. I haven't determined the silicate thing yet, but I will. Now, what is this? there's the spurlock again. This is it right here. That's a whole different little latch than all the rest of this. There's something going on with this one. And here's one, look at, remember I showed you, this one is completely down to having nothing. It's all down to this little alveoli holes, which are the same as these tiny little holes, only even tinier, way down inside. This one here is in between these two. I'm not kidding you. This is all eroded away, which is the pleura. You see how thick that is? See how thick that coating is? This is like a rubber bag. Your lungs have to go, or you die. Now, this was in the Great Flood. You see how flat that is? Same thing almost all, well, not everyone is flat, but boy, most of them. Now, there's the spurlock on this one. You see it? There's that little flap. That is not the same as the rest of the creature. And I'll show you again on this little one here in the microscope. And you see all these little alveoli? That's what these little dots are. And I'll see, you'll see it in the microscope. I got to put some water on it, and you'll see the latch. You will see the latch, or see the light, who knows. Alright, here's going to be the sequence probably. I'll tell you which one we're looking at. But I'm going to show you the lungs, and that latch, and the little meteorites, and then I got a couple other pictures to bring up to show you, to support what I'm saying. But when I put a little water on this, they're going to actually literally start bleeding. I'm not kidding you. It's amazing. This is a bit of a shocker. I'm getting ready to throw away the Q-tip I used to swab the catalase, the hydrogen peroxide on and get the catalase reaction. Look what was on the tip of the swab. Now, is that something that was accidentally like a yikes? Are those actually alveoli that squirted out of there? Remember it was squirting all those little bubbles out? Could that be what that is? I'm going to try to move it around a little bit. Because it goes way down to here, look. And that's the end. Wow, it looks like it's got eyes at the end. Holy shit. Whoa. Whoa, wait a minute. Yikes. Okay, this is a bit of a shocker. I was going to get ready to throw away the cotton swab, and I look and I saw a little squishy stuff on the end, and I thought, well, what's that? It looks to me like these are eyeballs, or they could be blood vessels going into whatever this thing is. And look down the end here, look. I'm going to try to home in a little better. What the hell is that all about? Now, could they be actually the alveoli? Because this is what I was swabbing the hydrogen peroxide to get the reaction. And then this thing came out. I'm going to try to get in close as I can. This thing doesn't magnify all that well. But boy, that could be something very strange. Let me get a best shot I can. Alright, this is about the best I'm going to get. Look at all these little hairy looking things. This is either a plant or some kind of creature. Look at that. There's biology going on here. Absolutely 100% for sure. It's not just slime came off the edge. And I remember I told you the balls were coming up and had all the little spots on them. Now, this, if you turn it a certain way, it looks like they're just eyeballs. You turn it another way, it looks like the eyeball got ripped out of there or something. If it was an eyeball, I don't know. It could be an artery, it could be a vein. I have no idea. But this is 100% certain that is biology. There is no question about that. Now, it goes all the way down to the other end. Hold on, let me see if I can get it down. Let's see if we can see each spot at a time. What is going on there? Something's changing here. Almost looks like it has some form of a gut. You see it? Something very strange. This looks like a gut cavity, to be honest with you. And it comes out here, and then it has all these little bumpy things. This is the Q-tip. This has nothing to do with whatever this is. Look at these little bumpy lumps. And then it just keeps going. Until it hits this end. Whatever that end is, I do not know. Like I said, this magnification is not great. That's biology. And nobody in the world can tell me that's not biology. That just didn't get scraped off the edge of it as goop. And it looks to me like it's got blood, little tissues in there, here and there. I think I'm going to have to put this in some kind of a, preserve it in a little plastic bag or something. I don't know how to preserve something like this. But that appears to have come out of that lung. I don't have a lot of biology hanging around here, like leaves and things like that. And that doesn't look like a leaf. These look like eyeballs or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm very perplexed at this moment. But I tell you, that stuff that was coming out of that lung was just festering out of there.